Hello, welcome again today, and I pray you're having a good day. I started reading back in the book of John again, and I have to say it's just one of my favorite books of the Bible. And I wanted to do a lesson on John chapter 18, verses 1 through 7, but I've decided to break it up because I found it quite interesting to study. And so today I'm going to read to you John chapter 18, verses 1 through 3, and give you a little background on it. And I'm reading it in the Amplified Bible, and it says, "Having said these things, Jesus left with his disciples and went across the ravine of the Kidron. There was a garden there, which he and his disciples entered. Now Judas, who was betraying him, knew the place, because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. So Judas, having obtained the Roman cohort or band and some officers from the high priests and the Pharisees, came there with lanterns and torches and weapons." And I'm sure that most of you are familiar with this passage. But in the footnotes, I enjoyed reading that in John 18:1, that the Kidron most of the time was a dry stream. But the winter rains or the snow brought water to them. So we know that it was either at the end of winter or it was in the spring when it's already melting, okay? And this makes sense. In Israel, winter goes from December 21st to March 20th. Passover is celebrated in the month of Nisan, which is either March or April. And in the Barnes notes, it says, "And the ideal is that of a stream that was swollen by rain or by the melting of the snow." So it does help us to know what time of year it is. The ravine separated Jerusalem from the Mount of Olives. In the Old Testament, King David took this same path, this same route, escaping from Jerusalem to the Mount of Olives when he was betrayed by his son Absalom. Then John 18:2, which is, again, now Judas, who was betraying him, knew the place because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. In the Enduring Word, it says, it is a familiar place. It was a place that they went to quite often. It was a place that Judas would know that Jesus would be going there. It is plain that having consecrating himself for the impending sacrifice, he now made no attempt to hide from his enemies. See, he knew that's where Judas would bring those that were coming with him. He didn't want to hide. First of all, he consecrated himself because he knew it was the time. He was the great sacrifice, right? But he went to where Judas would normally expect to find him. Now we got to keep in mind that Jesus willingly set down his life, laid down his life for us. He was the sacrificial lamb. He was to take our place, to wash away the sins of the world. So since it was time, and he had told his disciples it was time, he made it very evident where he was going to be. He didn't hide from them. He didn't make it hard for them to find him. And then in John 3, let's read that again. It says, "So Judas, having obtained the Roman cohort and some officers from the high priests and the Pharisees, came there with lanterns and torches and weapons." Now, a cohort was a subunit of the Roman legion and normally was composed of between 300 to 600 men in a troop. They were well armed with swords and clubs. Why so many? I don't know. Were they expecting a large battle or conflict? Makes you wonder. I mean, to come after Jesus, the man Jesus, they thought, because they didn't believe that he was God. So they came after him with anywhere from 300 to 600 men in the army, plus those that the Pharisees and the priests had sent. So there was a huge amount of people coming with Judas to come and get Jesus. So again, we don't know what they were expecting. Maybe they were expecting a huge following to fight them. I'm not really sure. But the enduring word says this shows that Judas misunderstood the nature of Jesus and at the same time underestimated his power. He's God. He's all-powerful. Had Jesus been of the nature to physically battle against Judas, had that been what he wanted, and the devil driving the betrayer, we know that the detachments of troops would never have been enough. There would never have been enough, no matter how many troops they sent in. If Jesus was going to fight back against them, he was God. We know that that would not have happened, but he knew it was his time. Thanks God for that. Tomorrow, let's go into this a little bit deeper, okay? God bless you.